This is North Korea type stuff. Demanding allegiance to a leader, these people would be silenced and censored on for the rest of their lives. Donald Trump, for his entire administration, censored hundreds of, if not thousands of people.
We have clips of a former Trump campaign staffer, Jessica Denson, coming out and revealing the ways that Trump censors those who is critical to him, something that I think is important to highlight as Republicans try to accuse Democrats of being the pro-censorship party. And this is someone who worked directly for the Trump campaign, speaking on her own experience that her and others suffered under Trump. So let's line these clips up and see what we can learn.
Donald Trump, for his entire administration, censored hundreds of, if not thousands of people from criticizing him. And if it were not for my work in the courts, would be silencing them for the rest of their lives. For the rest of their lives. Let me just portray the Trump NDA to you in a way that I haven't before. This is an NDA. Just let's put it in the context of Kamala Harris for a minute. Imagine that Kamala Harris right now and Tim Walz have every single staffer, contractor, and volunteer that goes to work for their campaign. Because right now, a volunteer, maybe they're engaged for the first time, they support Kamala Harris, but who knows? They might change their mind in a few years. Who knows? But right now they're going to work for her, and she's going to make them sign a non-disclosure and non-disparagement agreement that says that they cannot speak one word of criticism against her for the rest of their lives.
And this is direct censorship, utilizing your position to take advantage of others and silence them from being critical to any of your actions. That way, no one who works for you can let out all the dirty little secrets that they might know. They can't speak on how you treat them, the shady things you did, yet you are the party that pretends to be against censorship, actually to go even further and pretend to be the only victims of it, the protectors of free speech because you're always censored the whole time. The head of the Republican Party is doing anything he can to censor those who oppose him. Luckily, Jessica Denson was able to win a lawsuit that deemed the nature of these NDAs illegal, so he never even had the grounds to have people sign them, which invalidated them for hundreds, if not thousands, of former staffers, which is why we keep seeing former staffer after former staffer now coming out with the negative things to say.
This is North Korea type stuff. Demanding allegiance to a leader for the rest of their lives, And not only can they not criticize Kamala Harris, but Doug's kids can't criticize them either. Whatever business they're engaged in, I think her stepdaughter is in the fashion business too. She makes some design. We can't, any staffers on that Kamala Harris campaign can't criticize anything relating to her stepchildren either. Anything remotely related to Kamala Harris, these people would be silenced and censored on for the rest of their lives. So I ask any Trump supporters out there, how would you feel about that? Because that's exactly what Donald Trump did to every single one of the hundreds, if not thousands, of staffers, independent contractors, and volunteers.
And you know exactly what MAGA would say if it came out that Kamala was the one doing this. They would accuse her of censoring the opposition, being anti-free speech, even though Trump is the only one with an actual history of doing this. It's kind of akin to how they accuse social medias of censorship of conservatives because Facebook censored the Hunter Biden laptop story for 24 hours. And then they'll prop up Elon Musk as some sort of free speech warrior because he lets them say the N-word on Twitter, despite him now censoring the recent J.D. Vance dossier and suspending any accounts that share it. It's because they have no actual moral compass, which is why they don't care that Trump has went after Twitter users who were unfavorable to him and issued gag orders to censor them, issuing gag orders to multiple different agencies within the government so that they couldn't speak to the press, or removing whistleblower protection so that they couldn't have the same reign of freedom to let out all the things that whistleblowers let out, whatever it may be. I think he did it in accordance to the Environmental Protection Agency or with nuclear protections. None of that is censorship to them, however, because it's only censorship to them when it happens to a conservative.
And I fought tooth and nail starting with a pro se lawsuit in 2018 to get these NDAs lifted. But they were not ultimately lifted entirely until almost 1 year ago today, when we freed, in a massive sweeping victory, every single last one of them. And not even initially, not even did I get my full freedom, even though I spoke out in spite of it, until 2021. So that means that for the entirety of Donald Trump's re-election campaign, he was silencing hundreds, if not thousands, of people. Talk about censorship. J.D. Vance, you're damn right. Censorship is a very, very serious threat to democracy. It's why our First Amendment has free speech in it, because it is at the core of a free society, the ability to criticize your leaders. And Donald J. Trump tried to strip American citizens of that right.
Exactly. And look, we all agree with some form of censorship. Pretending that any censorship is bad, you're kind of crazy at that point. You're outside of the average person. Like, we all think that gory images should be censored, right? That CP should be censored, these kinds of things. So it's about where to draw the line. For me, I'm fine drawing the line after medical misinformation being censored, and a lot of people are. I don't think that people should be able to spread dangerous lies that could be harmful to people and their health, especially those who might be suffering from a condition that could leave them desperate or vulnerable to this kind of misinformation. And it's things like this that Republicans try to attack, like, oh, they're coming after us because they don't want Trump to tell people to inject bleach to fix COVID, when nobody really is. No one can even name a single conservative that's been canceled for their speech. Typically, conservatives get a bigger platform and more support, more fans from out of their base after doing hate speech or spreading these kinds of lies. Yet we have a clear example of Donald Trump, Elon Musk, right-wingers writ large censoring their opposition, and nobody in MAGA cares, which is why I always say these two things about MAGA. Every accusation is a confession. Anything they accuse the other side of doing, they're probably doing themselves. And they also just want to victimize themselves. They have no actual moral compass about this, which is why you should never concede anything to them. They just want to be able to take some sort of moral high ground as the oppressed or the victim. So why concede anything to them when they would never do that about their own side? If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, or even commenting on this video. We even have memberships available as low as $3 if you'd like to support, because the only way we become a society is together.